This video here is called World's Biggest LEGO Collection Tour with 10,000 sets and 25,000 minifigures by Duck Bricks. This is his most recent LEGO collection tour, and it's also a very long video. So we're going to break this up into multiple parts for your viewing experience. And yeah, let's give it a like. It's got 164,000 views at 3 hours in length. You know that's some crazy watch time hours. So, what's up, Duck Bricks? Tell us how it is.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and welcome to my LEGO collection.
This is crazy.
With over
Look at the walls.
9,585 sets, plus over 19,000 minifigs and counting, this is one of the largest LEGO collections in the world. And today, we're going to be going in-depth
Absolutely
into
insanity
in my collection.
And you know when he says I'm
every
going into
set,
everything,
every
he's
theme,
going
all
into
of the
everything.
Rare and unique items that make it special. Welcome to a grand tour of the Duck Bricks Vault.
Wow.
Before we get started,
It literally is a vault. That's a good way to put it.
First of all, one of the most common questions is how can I afford all of this? Well, I've actually put out a separate video explaining all of that in detail if you're curious to learn more about me. But long story short, I work a ton of jobs at startups and tech, and I'm really lucky to have been able to amass a collection like this, which one day I hope will be able to be turned into a museum.
That's very vague, if I'm being honest. I don't really know what that means.
Is to open up some sort of LEGO museum where everybody from around the world can come and enjoy, whether virtually or in person, and get a chance to see all of this LEGO firsthand.
That's awesome.
But now, without further ado, I think it's time to jump right into the full tour. So let's take it from the top.
Ooh, back it up. So much to go over. It's actually
so as we jump
insanity.
in here, the last collection tour I posted was 3 years ago, and I did not realize
so it's been a couple years.
Quite that long. And boy, has the collection changed quite a lot since that
video. It really
has. This was pretty
like
much
just this right here, this little overview. He's got so many more hanging ships now and other minifigures on the wall.
Everybody who has been supporting the channel since its inception all the way to today. Our channel has grown a ton in those past years, and it was really cool just going back in time, kind of rewatching parts of that old tour and just seeing just how much has changed and how far I've come since then. We started Duck Bricks near the very tail end of 2020, and I cannot believe it will almost be 5 years later this year.
Hey, he makes it like some type of Comic-Con event. That's pretty cool.
All of you, the viewers, to thank for
it's
all
definitely a very
support,
famous individual. It's awesome.
Excitement over the videos I put out, the wild LEGO hunting trips I go on, the completely random side tangents of talking about my startups or my personal life and how it was like being on the LEGO Masters TV show. It has been a truly incredible past 4.5 years of Duck Bricks, and here's to many, many more. But as we get into the tour, I wanted to address some frequently asked questions that popped up in my original tour video so we can get those out of the way before we jump in. And one last note, this video tour is filmed between the hours of 3 to 6 a.m. on the night of my great move to New York.
That's funny.
I am no longer living in this collection, but I wanted to film a big tour before I moved. So things get
pretty cool. So
and a little silly
he's finally out of this room. He was in this room for quite some time. I've already watched some videos with him in this one specifically, so going forward he won't be in here, which is kind of interesting.
Section of that 3-year-old video, figured out what the most frequently asked and most upvoted questions were, and we'll answer them right now in rapid fire. Question number 1 is, how do I deal with dust? Honestly, I am really lucky because for whatever reason, I don't really have dust settle on my LEGO sets. Either it's because there are really no exposed windows and the vents are all pretty much covered up, but for whatever reason, dust does not collect on my sets, so I don't really have to ever deal with it. Question
He's
2,
lucky.
if you're looking for a specific set or theme, this video was filmed in March of 2025, which means that if you're looking for something that was released recently, if you're watching this video much later on in the future, it probably just
For
means
example,
I
like One
haven't
Piece
actually
sets that
gotten
came
it
out in
because
August of
success yet.
2025,
Question number
he probably
3,
doesn't
how
have
do I
them.
hang sets from the ceiling? How do I mount minifigs to the walls? And how do I mount LEGO sets to the walls? I've actually made tutorials for all of those, and I've linked those in the description below.
That's awesome.
Put the power
That's really
in
cool
your hands with
that
Monopoly
he's got
app
tutorials
banking.
on how to build them.
First
I like that.
Monopoly board you play with an app.
It's very awesome.
Question 4 is, do I glue my LEGO sets? Absolutely not. Never will be gluing any of my LEGO sets together.
That's good to hear.
They pretty much just hold themselves together thanks to the clutch power of LEGO bricks, even if they're hanging from the ceiling. I just have to be a little clever with how I place the string. Question 5, what do I do if there's an earthquake or fire? I don't know, cry? The good thing is I don't really live in an area prone
Cry?
to earthquakes or major natural disasters, so I don't think it's gonna be a big problem, but let's not jinx it. Question 6, do I have any plans to expand to a larger space because a lot of the items here are cramped? Absolutely, I really want to open a larger museum at some point in the future. It may take me years to do this because I don't want to do it until I feel like financially I can support a museum, even if it lost money every day, just to be able to have it open to the public. So that's where it's at right now. Question 7, how much
I'm
is
sure
this
he could
all
find a
worth?
way to
I
make it
genuinely
profitable.
wish I knew. I
He
have
just
had
has to have
television
some type
crews
of
and
business
experts in the
sense.
LEGO field come into my collection and say it's valued in the 8-figure range, although exactly
Really?
how much I really don't know, and I don't know if there's a really easy way to calculate that either, because there's just so many unique items that don't even have prices that I'm not even going to be able to call out in this video because it's just so niche and specific.
The
that
wall of
honestly, I feel
minifigures
like for
has me
personally,
baffled to this
the
day.
time, effort, and passion that went into getting this collection put together just means that for me it's priceless. I will never be selling my collection. I really want to hold on to this for as long as I can and pass it down.
Good
so
for him.
This is just something very special to me. So I don't even see it
Yeah,
as an
I mean, at
investment
this point,
because
it is
an
something
investment
very
implies
special.
that I
It's-
will be
this is
later
not
on trying
normal.
to flip it for money, which is just
That's
not
for
going
sure.
to happen. And finally, speaking of money, one of the biggest questions I get asked, and I did allude to this in the intro, is how do I pay for all of this? And not only did I actually put out a full video talking through my personal life in terms of how I pay for it, but to summarize,
He's
I do
actually
work
been
as a
on TV
project
quite a bit.
manager at Microsoft, but aside from that, I run a really exciting startup
He's a-
called Nui. And yes, that
Okay.
name is Lego Bionicle inspired, where basically we work with companies to deal with reorganizing and optimizing their data, utilizing bespoke machine learning algorithms, custom software processes, and a literal army of engineers working underneath us to optimize the company's results and to make sure that they can actually have the most effective use of their data. We work across
Very
all
interesting.
sectors and verticals and have an international reach. Working with, for example, one of the world's largest food manufacturers in the farming space, gigantic ad tech companies, geological-based industries, and even health tech. So we really cover everything with a focus on uniting
And this literally has
optimizing
nothing to do with
the
Lego.
greatest
This is,
value
like,
out of
very
a company's
different.
data. I love talking about my startup, and it is absolutely a big part of my life, and I definitely want to talk about it more. So if you want to learn more, definitely let me know in the comments, and I'd love to put out more videos about the startup life because it's a completely different sector to the Lego world. But it is just as big and important to my life as Lego. It's just not something I often
Well,
talk about.
it's
here on the
basically
Dark
what
Horse
has
YouTube channel,
financially
but I would
supported
love to
him for
talk
his
about
Lego
stuff like
collection,
that
so-
more, because for me,
Yeah.
the two are very linked. I actually did a TEDx talk where I explained about how
ain't
my
that
passion
crazy.
for Lego and creativity and using the building blocks around me in the world to solve some of the biggest problems directly led to my passion for entrepreneurship. So for me, I feel like those two things are directly correlated. But now, without further ado, let's jump on in to the tour. Okay, let's take it from the top. This is the entryway to my collection, the portal in which you will see all of these Lego treasures. And so, because of that, I've decided to place some of the most special and meaningful items to me personally up here at the top. They aren't necessarily the rarest items in my collection, although some of them are, but usually these pertain to something that's really special to me or a fond memory. So, going up here, we have a mosaic that I made of my face. As you can see, I'm very, very humble, as well as our
That's very
YouTube
funny.
plaque for passing 100,000 subscribers, which of course I had to put up here to my collection. To name a
That's
few of these other
very
items,
cool that he's
this
got
is
one of
actually
those.
signed by Keeld Kirk Christensen, former CEO of the Lego Group, and the story behind
Nice.
this is I was in Denmark at the employee shop because I was there for a special event Lego was hosting, and literally just completely randomly, Keeld Kirk Christensen happened to be at the store at the same time as me, just checking out all the items. He did not know that Fan Media was going to be there. It was a total surprise, but I recognized him, and my buddies and I immediately made sure to get an autograph. This book
That's
is
awesome.
actually the Lego story.
Like you
which
said,
details
that's an
how we
item that
started the
he's
company.
probably
So I
not going
figured
to
it was
be
the
able
perfect thing
to
get
value.
autographed by him.
There is no
Although, I might
price
have to
on it.
come up
It's
with
very
a more
hard to figure
long-term
that out.
display for this because it's not really the best display kind of hanging off the wall here. Moving over to some of these other items, I was a creative content guest at the Lego House in Billund, Denmark, so I put my badge there. I thought that was super special. And I'm also a big fan of the Lego Bionicle theme, one of Lego's original in-depth story-based themes. And I actually got a chance to meet the co-creator of Lego Bionicle, as well as Lego Star Wars, Aquazone, Minecraft, and so many other themes, but mainly Bionicle. And I got him to sign some really cool Lego Bionicle items, like this original Lego Bionicle story document, which actually actually has nothing to do with the story, but actually talks about how the Bionicle story revolutionized LEGO financially in the year 2001.
I believe
also
he's got a
got to sign
complete
an icon of
Bionicle
the
collection,
theme,
if
the
I'm
Pinocchio
correct.
there. And over here, we actually have a signed postcard showcasing the Millennium Falcon Lego set. That was the first time we ever got one in the year 2000. And of course, this was also spearheaded by Christian Faber, who did Lego Star Wars. Alongside it are prototype canisters from his collection, as well as actual prototypes, also given to Christian Faber as part of test models during the development of Lego Bionicle, which he was kind enough to basically donate to my collection here. And you can see
Legendary.
that these are prototyped because the
Build
pieces
it to
aren't
the
quite
huge,
finalized.
huge
You can see they were
collection.
using a special type of rapid 3D developing for the parts, and there are special codes on the front of the masks that aren't present on any other Bionicle mask, which is super neat.
It's almost like the
Moving on
not
to
for
the
resale
next
version
items
of like
here,
what video
I also
games
got a
do.
chance to
It's
meet
really cool.
somebody who I was really looking forward to meet for a long time, and that was Tommy Andreasen, who spearheaded Lego themes like Ninjago, Nexo Knights, and Shima, and is well known for basically running the story of Ninjago all the way up until Crystallized. Of course, I had to get some of his artwork autographed right here. This postcard here actually is also an exclusive postcard, which you can only get at the Lego Employee Campus in Denmark, alongside this Bionicle one showing one of Christian
He must have
Faber's
gotten that when he did
sketches.
his factory
Right above
tour.
that is a Bionicle comic autographed by Greg Farsty, the story writer. This
guy's got so many
Bionicle, which is
autographs
super
from different
cool.
people.
Haven't met him in person yet, but a good friend of mine gifted me this for my birthday, and it was one of the coolest things ever because they had actually met him in person. Moving on to here, folks might recognize this guy right here as the Lego Win Kid. He was kind of an icon and meme in the Lego world, appearing on basically every single instruction manual for quite
He was a
long
very,
period
very
of time.
iconic kid.
And I actually was able to track him down along with my friend Jonathan, aka Mini Superheroes Today on YouTube. He found him and we had dinner at his restaurant. Today he grew up, he played football, and now he owns a club and restaurant in one. And we had dinner with him and he signed our manuals, which was so cool and such a fun memory. So I had to commemorate it here.
It's cool. It's nice to show some love to somebody that like everybody's seen because he's on that instruction booklet on the back there, but yet nobody really knows who he is. Like I didn't know till now. So of course somebody like Duckbricks would know all that information about something crazy like that.
And won Lego Masters Season 4. And so because of that, I have this special Lego Masters Season 4 kind of medallion here. This is not an official Lego
collectible
item, but a tradition that all of the cast members of Lego Masters do is that they make medallions for each other at the end of each season. So we carried on that
That's nice.
tradition, and of course I had to mount it to my wall. Also above me, I have some Lego Masters paraphernalia. These 3 minifigures are actually exclusive to San Diego Comic-Con, and they're especially unique because these were actually
Those
given
Comic-Con
away by
figures
me
are
at the
rare.
Lego
They're
booth
super
at
expensive,
Comic-Con
all of them.
2024, which I was a special guest at. I was able to do a panel there, and I actually did a signing where I gave away those minifigs, so of course I had to keep a copy of one of them for myself. Alongside it is
That's fair,
a minifigure
especially
of
for a
me
guy that has
wearing
this
the
much
San
stuff.
Diego Comic-Con exclusive 2023 shirt here, showcasing Blockbuster Video. And then over here is a special pin signed by Stuart Harris. If you don't know who Stuart Harris is, he is a master model builder, a legendary designer at the Lego House who develops a lot of the Lego House sets and developed a lot of the older Lego models during his tenure at Lego. Moving on from that, we've got all sorts of other stuff. Up here are some really special items.
Yeah, like what's
This
that
is
signed
the Lego
ship?
Pharrell Williams Over the Moon set, signed by
Pharrell
Pharrell
Williams.
himself. I was actually invited to the worldwide premiere of the Pharrell Williams movie, both in Canada as well as in New York. And we
That's
even saw
so
an early
cool.
screening in Denmark. So
I don't think
saw
the
it
movie did
early,
the greatest,
like 3
but
times. But during one of those
it's a
screenings,
stop-motion
I was
animation.
invited to an after party where I happened to meet Pharrell and ask him to sign the set. Of course, I came prepared. He basically only signed that one. He was literally
Really?
on his way out. I just
Wow.
told him I was a big fan. The folks at Lego introduced me.
That's
and I managed to get
legendary.
it signed.
Dude shot his
Right
shot
next to
and
it
it
is
worked.
another very special item for me
Shoot your
personally.
shot.
This is a Ninjago themed microphone. So the story behind that is that Lego actually paid me and a few other content creators to do live reactions to clips of Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 2. I am a big fan of
Wow.
Ninjago. I grew up watching the show, and it's easily one of my
Duck
favorite
Bricks has
Lego
been
IPs
invited to
ever.
a lot-
So to
a
actually
lot
get
of different
chance to
events
work
and,
with Lego
public
and do some
speakings.
official promotional material utilizing this brick-built microphone was really special. It's nothing super crazy. You could recreate it yourself, but the fact that it came fully built and represents a really important thing to me,
Yeah.
which was being a part of
It
an
has
official
a
Ninjago
story.
promotional
That's what
campaign,
sells
it just makes
for
it
him.
so much
Like-
more special. And these cards up here also went along with it, and they packaged those with the microphone as an exclusive little gift for me.
Nice.
Moving on from that, we have just a few more items here. This is a very,
He
very
really is a
special
true
item
collector.
here
Like,
because
he
this has
cares
been
about the
signed
little
by Lego
collectibles.
designer Boone, who you might know from Lego Masters Season 1, as well as Samuel Johnson, a veteran, legendary Lego designer. And this was a brick separator that they signed during the development of my exclusive Lego set, where I actually was invited as part of my prize for winning Lego Masters Season 4 to go to Denmark and work with these two designers to develop our Lego set. And right above it are actually prototype pieces from my set. These are really special elements that are printed in the final set, but here you can see they're actually stickers on here. So I had to include it here. This tile was in the new orange color, which was actually unreleased at that time and unrevealed. So I saw it for the first time when we were putting together my set, and I had to grab a couple of these special items to add to my collection for the members.
It's like rare piece on
Moving
rare
onwards,
piece on
just a
rare
few more
piece.
special items here.
Super
we have
flex.
a signed item here from The Fold. The Fold is the band that makes all of the Lego Ninjago music, and I actually got a chance
The
to
Fold.
perform on stage with them twice at an event called Brick World Chicago, which is one of the biggest Lego conventions.
Now, I knew
in the
he loved
West. It's always a
Ninjago,
ton
but
of
who
fun.
would have thought he
And
would
my
actually
buddies over
like
at a
hunt
couple of
down
Brickheads,
the
who you can also
band
check out
people
on
for the
YouTube,
music?
kinda
That's
got me
crazy.
connected with them and set it up to allow me to sing the Weekend Whip on stage with this band, which was
He
a
sung with
total
them?
dream come true. So I had to put it there. Here's
So
some other
funny.
Ninjago items signed by Tommy A. And then this
Yo, what
item
up, Jared?
right here is really special. And I have this here because not only is it one of the rarest Lego items I own, but I feel like it also reminds me a lot of
gold
why I
friends.
love the Lego community. So what's the story behind this? This is an exclusive item that was only given away to employees working on the Lego Friends team in 2022 to celebrate the anniversary of Lego Friends. Two of them, only two, were given away to members of Lego Fan Media, which I'm a part of, at Fan Media Days in September of 2023. But here's the kicker. I was not one of the people who happened to get that. In fact, when the Lego Friends design lead came to talk to us folks, I was actually talking to Tommy and Drayson at the time. So I did not even meet them, but they gave away two of those. And one of my now good friends, Evan, who helps run Tips and Bricks, one of my favorite Instagram accounts that's Lego focused, came to me and said, you know what? I feel like you're gonna really appreciate this a lot more than me in your collection. And he just gave it to me. And
That's
honestly,
wild.
that
That's
just means
actually
so
absurd.
much, and I feel like that just really
Such a rare
exemplifies
piece like that,
why
just to
I
give it
love
to
the
somebody.
Lego community, because people help each other out. People in the Lego space want to see people's collections grow, and that was really kind of him. So I'm very grateful for that. Shout out to Evan, and now it is a very, very prominent piece in my collection. But we can't talk about prominent collection pieces without mentioning some other really special items I have over on this side of the wall here. That, of course, is Mr. Gold. If you don't know the story behind Mr.
Yeah,
Gold,
Series
he was
10
an exclusive
CMFs.
chase figure for the Lego Collectible Minifigures Series 10, where he was chrome gold. You basically had
That
to
figure is
open
like
up a ton of
$1,000
packs to
now, or
find
like
him, and
$1,200 bucks.
Unfortunately, back in 2013 when he came out, I opened a lot of packs and I never found Mr. Gold, meaning I had to buy mine on the aftermarket for quite a lot of money. But thankfully, he is now here with his own special golden themed display area, as Mr. Gold should have. Here's a signed Ninjago spinner by Tommy Andresen, who also designed the packaging cover art for these, so I figured it made perfect sense for him to sign that. And then over here on these two minifigure wall displays are just some random, rare, and exclusive Lego minifigures. The rarest ones on here are these four, and these four are only given away to managers of Lego stores at special manager-only conferences. We have the Zombie,
That's pretty
Zach the
exclusive.
Lego Maniac, the Lego Brand Retail Magician, and the Lego Brand Retail Camper. These are actually also produced by a second company. They're not actually made by Lego, they're made by a third party, which is why the graphic design is a little bit strange on the faces. They don't quite match the Lego style. You can actually feel
So
the
they're not
printing
really
on them.
Lego
They don't really
exactly
have
then.
the same quality as Lego minifigs, but since they were given away as official Lego items, they do count as part of the collection, and they are some of the rarest. I also have the original packaging they came in, but if there's one thing you're gonna notice during this tour, I'm not a big packaging kind of guy. I like it for what it is, but I feel like Lego is made to be played with, and Lego is made to be opened up and played around with, so I've basically removed everything from the packaging. maybe if there's just a really, really special item and I already own it loose, I'm gonna keep it sealed, but otherwise, I like to display my Lego out of the packaging. So I know this might be a hot take. I know a lot of people are probably commenting right now.
I mean, if it
"Why
ain't
on earth
already
did
brand
you
new
open
sealed,
the
you might as well
packaging
just
for those?
open it up.
Why didn't you leave it sealed?" And to that
Enjoy
I
it
say,
for what
you
it
know
is.
what? I got a lot of fun playing with these figures. I got a lot of fun out of them, and I feel like that's what Lego is all about. So that's how I display my stuff, and that's also why you'll see throughout this tour, you're not going to really see any boxes because I throw away all of my Lego boxes aside from
That's a
few
wild
special
statement.
ones. Moving back here to the minifigures.
At least for like an
video, there's just a
investment
couple
purpose,
of
I'd
other
keep the
ones I wanna
boxes,
call
but
out.
like,
We have a lot of
especially in
China-exclusive Lego
his
minifigures.
collection, he's got
I've
so
actually
many
never
sets
been
that
to
like
the
he should
Lego
be keeping the
stores in
boxes.
China, but for whatever reason, there is a vendor every single year in Denmark at Scarebeck Fan Weekend, one of the biggest European Lego fan conventions, who always just comes with every single China-exclusive Lego item. And of course, I have to buy all of them for each year that I go from him to display in my collection. So these are pretty special. A lot of them are tied to grand openings, or as you can see here, like anniversaries of stores, like the second anniversary of a store.
Those are very, very exclusive
Find your
figures.
all-wheel drive in the
I've
Kia
never seen anything
Seltos.
like that for sale online or anything like that. I assume to acquire them, you'd have to buy them off someone like him.
Never sacrifice
And I don't think
bedtime
this
for
Duck Bricks
party
guy
time.
is looking to sell any types of figures. He's definitely looking to buy, but I don't
We
think he's
also
looking
have
to
some
sell.
items here that are only given away at the Lego Idea House, which is a private museum that you can only access by invite. I've been lucky enough to have had the chance to tour twice thanks to my work with Lego, but both times I actually never managed to get one of these minifigs because they kind of were changing the policies. They were cutting back on how many minifigs they gave out, but also the reason why I have both of these is a buddy of mine managed to go on the tour and basically begged them to give him a couple so he could give me one, and they obliged. So I have the older version
Wow.
and the newer version, thanks to my friend Jonathan, who really came through because
Looks
I
like
can't
begging
believe
does work
I've been here
sometimes.
twice and didn't actually get it from my 2 special visits. Moving on to here, these are some Lego employee business card minifigures, and I have a few more, but I really wanted to highlight some people who have been really influential in my life and my work with Lego. Rob May was one of the producers on Lego Masters, and he was really helpful in just getting me set up in Denmark, as well as a lot of these other folks just I work with Lego in some capacity, mostly the Lego Masters, but also tied to the Lego Ambassador Network. So all these people, I just want to give a big thank you to for making my journey with Lego so awesome, so I had to honor them here. And it's also pretty cool because Lego
I wonder
no
what this
longer
guy got
does
paid
employee
for
business
when he
card
went on that
minifigures.
Lego
They've
Masters TV
changed some
show
of their terms and conditions
to
around
be
how
a
they produce minifigs.
show,
So these
not
are kind
show
of a
host,
dying
but like a
breed.
show player.
Moving on to here, we have some Lego World exclusive minifigs. This is a convention, I believe, in Europe, somewhere in the Netherlands, where they actually host every year. It's kind of affiliated with Lego, which is why they're allowed to use the Lego branding. I've actually
They've got
never
a
attended
Brick
Lego World
Friday
myself, but I got all
2019
of
fig.
these
That's
from
crazy.
a Danish thrift
Like a
stores,
Black Friday
which is
figure.
a pretty crazy thing to get. These are some special store opening minifigures, which I also did not go to the store openings of these stores in 2011, but I found these
Ooh,
at
they
a
got one in
secondhand
Toronto.
Lego shop called Barno Brick in
No
Germany.
way, it opened
So,
in 2011.
you always just find the strangest things in used Lego stores. This right here is actually a minifigure paperclip, which is interesting. They don't make those anymore, and you can tell it's based on a vintage minifig. So that's why he's kind of elevated off the stand there. The paperclip is literally glued to the back of the figure, and I have a Santa one too, but I
It's
think
kind of like
the
a
pirate one
keychain
is cool.
minifigure.
Now moving
Old
on
school,
to this
though.
right here, you may not recognize this as Lego, because as you can see, this is the size of a regular Lego brick, and this is the size of a Modulex brick. Modulex was a special offshoot brand of Lego released back in the early days when Lego was experimenting with the different types of bricks they were making, and essentially it was just a smaller scale of building. There's a lot of really strange parts here, and I could do a whole video talking about the history of Modulex.
Yeah, man, this
but
guy,
for now, we're just gonna have to
it said in the
showcase this
title
little
here, he's
display and
got
keep on moving
10,000
because we're only
sets
15
and
minutes in, and I haven't
25,000
even taken a
minifigures.
single
It's the
step
biggest
into the
collection,
yet. So
I think,
things
possibly
are
in the
about to
world.
speed up. As far as this gigantic minifigure display goes, I'll actually be putting out a separate video going in depth into pretty
okay.
much all the minifigs here, and also
I was
talking
actually
about how
looking
I set
forward
this
to
up,
him
because if this is
talking
your
about the
first time seeing
minifigures,
one of my
but
videos after a while, you might notice that the display here looks very different than it used to, and that's because I actually recently took down everything I had mounted on the walls, literally hours before filming this. I just finished redoing every display and
This is
putting them
crazy.
back up on the walls. So that's going to be
got all those
separate crazy
Bionicle
video
mask
on its own.
faces.
But for now, let's just go lightning round through the staircase here because we have a lot more to see set-wise in the collection. First off here, these are actually not minifigures, but this is a almost 100% complete collection of LEGO Bionicle
Crazy.
masks. When I
All
say
by color
almost
and everything, too?
100% complete, I am of course referring to the most expensive LEGO piece ever, the solid gold Kanohi Hao, which has since eluded me. I've had the chance to have it in my hands, the power of the sun in the palm of my hands, but sadly, I'll have to wait another day to be able to add it to my collection. But there
It's even
are
got
some
bricks
really
with
special
the,
and
like,
rare things
signs
other
on
than
them
that
to
mask, as
name
well as the
each
Platinum
mask.
Evoke, which I want to showcase here. These three masks are some of the most mysterious masks in the Bionicle community. As far as we can tell, they are Q parts, or what LEGO refers to internally.
There's
They're
a light switch
prototypes,
hidden in
basically,
between all the
where these
masks. That's
never
kind of funny.
appeared in official sets in these colors, but somehow they made it out into the wild. Just today, after I was filming this video, I noticed that there was an image that surfaced recently of these two masks being given away with a box of crayons somewhere in Norway. How limited that distribution was, we really don't know, but somehow they've made their way to the public, and I managed to snap up a few of them. There are some more prototype masks along this.
It's crazy, like, how
don't
it's,
own. I think it's going to be kind of
timing in
impossible to own them
place
all, but I'm
for a
glad
lot
to
of
have
these
two
rare finds
representations
for
here.
him.
This right here actually
And he's
is a
kinda
medium
using
blue
his
trident.
his
It
fame
originally
from
was
the
made
LEGO
in
world to
dark blue
kinda
or the regular blue
get
color,
contacts
but
and
I
stuff.
actually found this in Christian Faber's private collection, and we know thanks to a leaked list of element codes from LEGO's development softwares that this was actually a planned color for the piece, but it was canceled. And one of the only ways to get it now is, well, if you know the creator of Bionicle and he happens to give you a bag
Wild.
full of Bionicle parts and says go crazy. So very, very thankful to Christian Faber for gifting me this because it is one of the coolest items in my
So
collection.
it doesn't
and
exist, but
I
he
don't
has
think
it.
he even would have noticed that it was any
Weird.
different. Moving on to some of the stuff over here, we have some of the other rare masks. These are also early production runs. We have the trans yellow Kanohi Cow Cow and the trans light blue. These two masks here were actually supposed to be the masks used for Pohatu and Kopaka respectively, until they decided to change the color, going with neon orange for Pohatu and clear for Kopaka. But there was an early run where they decided to do yellow and light blue. These were showcased in an early display in Legoland Deutschland back in 2001, and some suspect that might be where some of these have come from.
Interesting.
You can hear them. They can't get enough.
Yeah, it's definitely snowballing. I
Moving
think
on
he
to
said
some
he
of the
collected
other rare
everything
masks here,
either
of
over
course.
11 or
This is a full
14
collection
years,
of
so
masks,
he has had a lot
we
of
can
time
dive
to
into
like
those some
accumulate
other
it,
time.
and
You
he's
can see
a
it's still a work in
tech
progress. Like, I
worker
haven't
as well
printed
as
out
a
all of the labels for
startup
these onto the
person.
pieces, but, you know,
So
it's a work
he's
in
had
progress.
quite a
We're
bit of
getting
money
there.
to help
Some other rare
invest
ones I
into
wanna
all this
call out,
stuff.
These two rows are all European. We call them misprints, but they were officially released in some mystery mask packs. They just never were supposed to be made in these colors. So they technically do count as like early production run misprints, which is why these are some of the rarest masks here. And then one of the really rare ones here that is actually worth a few $1,000s is this piece, because this is the pearl gold Kanohi Evoke, aka the Mask of Light. You'll notice how it
All that
differs
money
to
just
the
for one
flat
piece.
dark gold version, the official one. And the story behind this is this was actually made for a prototype toothbrush. That's right, Bionicle released a line of Colgate toothbrushes. They did one for Tahu
That's
Nuva,
funny.
I believe Onua Nuva and Gali Nuva, and they were gonna do one for Taka Nuva, but they never made it. So this was one of the prototypes for when they were trying to actually make Bionicle toothbrushes. And that was in the time when LEGO was actually switching over their gold color from flat dark gold over to pearl gold, and that's why that was made. So it's a really special item, and that's not the only time you'll hear of a very rare item having this gold color swap. Moving on to the rest of the items here, we have some really special ones. These are the silver powerless Kanohi Nuva. They'll run you around like $300 to $500 a piece for these
Whoa.
ones, except for the Miru, which came
That's
in
crazy.
a bulk bin of parts that they were selling, because otherwise they were kind of these special things that you could find in mystery mask packs, almost similar to Mr. Gold nowadays. Over here are some of the very special LEGO Bionicle
Very
metal
rare.
Chronicles. So one of them here is the white metal Chronicle. It is one of 5,000, and you can see the original certificate here, which is rare enough. But the other one is actually a different type of metal that they used in the prototyping process of the Chronicle. So when they were trying to figure out how they were doing these special metal Chronicle giveaways, they made a few prototypes, and well, one of those prototypes is right here. It's one of the vacuum metal ones. so it's really cool to have both an actual one and a prototype one in my collection. Moving on from that, speaking of prototypes, all of these are minifigure and mini doll prototypes, also from Christian Faber. The strangest one here is a completely naked Lego Friends mini doll, which they definitely obviously have never released. This one is pretty much the same as a production figure, but it is a prototype run. This one is unprinted.
A lot of like space
and these
figures.
two are Ultra Agents villains using pre-existing elements like Iron Man's legs and an Orokai headpiece there that they actually were piecing together when prototyping the preliminary minifigs of those sets. So you could piece these two figures together on your own, but I think it's super cool that these are definitively prototypes since they came from his collection. Moving on here, we're going into 2004 and 2005 with the different masks. Nothing super crazy.
Still
here,
20
as
years
the
ago.
Dark Blue Ruru is considered one of the rare ones. For the ones that were released in the standard production run, we have the 2006 and 2007 Toa masks right here. All of them are labeled with the actual powers of the masks themselves. So for instance, we have the Kanohi Trina, the mask of reanimation, which basically allows you to raise zombies from the dead. Very, very cool mask there. And then going along this row, we have some of the heads used for the villains of Bionicle. These were the Vaki, the dystopian police force that patrolled Metru Nui. Over here we have the Visorak, the Stealers of Life, and one of the rarest items here is the Pearl Gold Visorak Votorak Carapace here, which was made during a late production run, when again, they switched the gold production over from flat dark gold to pearl gold, which is why that exists. Moving on, we still have a few more of those Bionicle masks and helmets, mostly from the Titans and other large-scale characters from 06 and 07. And we're going to skip these guys right now and just kind of continue on the topic of the Bionicle masks, because down here we have the rest of the masks. They are all right here.
Oh my, you still got more of them. This is actually insane.
More delicious.
Going through all these Bionicle pieces here. I recently picked up some Bionicles, but they're from like 2001 to 2003. Nowhere near the collection that he's got going here. Being that it's basically complete.
Ones, the Pearl Gold Krakan is maybe around $1,000 nowadays, and again, that is just a late production run, going from flat dark gold to pearl dark gold when they switched it over from 2005 to 2006. So when they were making some late batches of those sets that came out in 05 and 06, they changed the color. These two items right here are also prototypes in trans yellow and trans red. They are shadow leeches, which previously only came in like the trans blue colors, so that is pretty cool. Of course, we have the Kanohi Ignika, the Mask of Life, and some would say one of the most iconic.
Yeah, amongst all the other
ever.
different toys that we had when we were younger, like Bakugans
so I had to include it on my wall.
Naruto cards, Yu-Gi-Oh.
These are all pretty much
the Go-Go's. I do remember
Go-Go's.
Go-Go's. Those were legendary.
Spine is pretty rare, but nothing super crazy going
We had
on
some really
here.
awesome good
And then we
toys.
get to
Not like what they got now.
Generation 2, which came out in
They don't have as cool
2015,
toys. A lot of the
I will
toys that
say
we had,
these
they're actually
chrome
bringing
gold
back now.
masks are the only custom
Remaking
items that I
them.
have on
Same with
display in my
Beyblades.
collection. They are supposed to represent the solid gold versions of these masks that were contest prizes, which I'm going to be honest, I don't think I will ever own in my lifetime, mostly because the community doesn't know where most
These are
of
some pretty cool looking
That's right,
masks
most
with
of
the
these
different
were given
colors,
away
and the
to
chromes
kids
are
during a
nice.
Facebook competition. I
gold.
myself applied and did not win, and most of those kids just either didn't document them, we don't really know who has them, so I was like, okay, if I'm never gonna own the full set of these in my life, I might as well just have custom ones to showcase them, to represent them in the collection. So that's why they're there. Still holding out hope for some of the other rare items though, which is why I don't have placeholders for some of the other stuff. I think the rarest item here is this one, the G2 Elemental Mask of Water. This was only given away during the 2015 LEGO Inside Tour, which is a special tour you can access
That's
by
crazy.
raffle only to tour LEGO headquarters, and this is
Giving away
worth
rare
probably
pieces like
around,
that.
I would say $2,000 to $4,000 just for the mask alone.
Thousands of dollars, no kidding.
Okay,
Wild.
That is a lot of Bionicle stuff, so let's move on from Bionicle.
That was a lot of
and take
Bionicle
look
stuff.
At the minifigures, because we have
But
a
very
lot
informational.
of minifigs to get through. Again, as I mentioned, I'll be putting out a separate video going through all the minifigs, so stay tuned for that. I'm basically just going to call out all of the different themes I have showcased on the walls here, and we're not going
That's
to
pretty
spend
fair.
any more time on them. Over here is every single Lego
Medieval,
castle
right?
minifigure. There are
Castle.
spaces for the minifigures I'm currently missing.
This is probably
Hopefully
one of the
those
best
gaps will be
themes
filled
ever.
very soon, but we start from
All
the
with
way
the
at top here.
knights.
We have the minifigures from the original Yellow Castle, one of the most iconic Lego castle sets ever. And then we go all the way down to this more general section here. And here we even have some prototype
I think they
Lego
had some
Ghost
Hobbit and Lord of the
elements,
Rings figures there,
specifically in
too.
Transclear, black, and red, which never came in any Lego sets, but I got from Bardo Brick in Germany, which is super cool. I also got from Bardo Brick this collection of marble bricks up here. This is a really cool collection because these are basically early production tests of Lego bricks made at factories when they were trying out different colors. I really like this one. I call it the lava brick because it's like black, red, and yellow and orange. It's super cool. That's probably my favorite here. This right here is when Lego was experimenting with
Oh, it's
making
like a little
bricks out
Duplo
of a
deck
plant-based
brick.
material. You might know that in somewhat recent news, they did announce that unfortunately those tests failed and they weren't really able to just purely make Lego bricks out of sustainable plant-based materials. But this is one of the prototypes that managed to escape the Lego factory.
They
and
actually tried to
made
do
its
it.
way to my collection right here, as well as a test
That could have
block
changed
they
the game
used
if
for
they were able to
cleaning
use
up
a
the
different
molds when
material.
making Lego Duplo bricks. Moving on to the other items over here. We have minifigures dedicated to Lego Bionicle, which did, yes, get its own system-based sets. So over here we have all of these system Lego Bionicle minifigures, 2005, 2006, and 2007. Some of them are missing. I know I own them all, so I literally just need to find them in my collection.
Minifigure
And
size
you'll notice that
Bionicles.
It's actually kind of funny. Like, a lot of the gaps in my collection here are because these were the sets I was playing with when I was a kid, and they probably just ended up in my Lego bins, so I have to hunt for them, as opposed to some of the more modern stuff, which I obviously now keep very close track of all my minifigs and don't really lose any of them. So I'll find the rest of them at some point. This is again a work in progress. We have all of those. We then transition to Hero Factory Invasion from Below, which also got its own minifigs. And then we have all of the Western minifigures here.
Yeah,
One of
with the
sheriffs here is
natives
named
and the
Wild
different
Wild
cowboys.
West. I just find that name funny, so I did have to call that out. And all of these will be receiving actual custom nameplates. So every single
That's
minifigure
really
you
cool.
see on the walls, I am currently in production, working with some really great manufacturers out there to
That's gonna
actually
take some
print
serious
custom
time.
2x4 tiles, similar to how I printed the tiles on the Bionicle masks here to have the name, the
Makes
year,
sense though,
and the
like this
lore
guy wants to
behind
do a
every
museum
single
going
one
in the
of these
future, so
minifigures, which is
if
a
you want people to
crazy
know what piece they're looking
undertaking,
at, you're
and
gonna
I do
have to
not
have
know
a
when that
little
will be done,
a little
but
title
you'll
brick.
definitely see a video when that happens. Moving on to here, we have all of the Lego Space minifigures. So we start with Classic Space, and some of these are really old. Like this minifigure has a sticker for the torso because they weren't even printing torsos then, so that was
Wow.
really crazy to see. And then we go all the way through the different eras of Lego Space, all the way to modern Lego City Space, which I felt deserved a
Hey, you
spot
got some
here
Alien
because
Conquest
these
people there.
basically are Lego's modern answer to an original space theme, so I wanted to showcase them too. Moving on from that, we have a wall dedicated to Lego Monkey Kid, one of my favorite original Lego themes. If you haven't watched the Lego Monkey Kid TV show, I wouldn't blame you because Lego doesn't make it easy for people to find the show. But if you manage to find it, I would highly recommend it.
It's a
is
show
one
I've
of the
never
best
watched
pieces
before.
of Lego content
I guess it's
out
like
there.
Ninjago,
The
but
storytelling is
it's a
incredibly
Chinese
mature. Characters
story.
go through some really deep arcs, and the animation is incredible.
It's got
They have
animation
Flying
like
Bark
an
to do the
anime,
animation, which is one
like
of
a
the most
Japanese TV
talented
show.
animation studios out there. So
So,
definitely would recommend check out Monkey Kid
got like
if you're
9
interested
seasons.
at all in Lego stories. Down here, we kind of have a section dedicated to a very short-lived theme, Lego World Racers, and you might be noticing a trend here in that for the beginning part of this stairwell, all of the minifigures are dedicated to original Lego themes and concepts, aka nothing licensed like Star Wars or Ninja Turtles or Marvel or DC. Everything here is based on non-licensed properties. And then when we move deeper into the collection, we go into licensed because I felt like that made the most sense. Lego started off with non-licensed properties, so it made sense to open the collection with those and then transition to licensed stuff as we go down. Going over here, we have Lego Dino Attack, which was a theme based on battling dinosaurs. We have Lego Dino, which came out in 2012. And
I've seen those sets, the Dino Attack ones, the old ones, they're really cool. Some OG 90 sets. Oreos, yum yum.
then over over here we have Lego Dreams, which I've left a few spots open. Like, I know we're going to get a new Logan minifig this
I
summer.
think
know
Lego
we're gonna get a
Dreams
new
is like a
Zoe minifig.
slightly
At the time
failed
of this
IP.
recording,
I could be
I'm
wrong about
recording
that,
this
but
in
I don't think
March
it does
of
too great for
2025,
sales.
so a lot of stuff hasn't been revealed yet, but I did keep on spaces for different minifigures that I want to add to the collection. But otherwise, this is 100% complete for Lego Dreams, and I did include a few rows down here at the bottom in case they actually come out with more minifigures than I thought, and I have to extend it down, so I do have space to expand. Moving on to this wall right here, we have the Lego Movie and the Lego Movie 2.
The first
This
Lego
is not
movie
every
went hard.
single Lego
That was a really good
minifigure
movie.
From the Lego movies, and I've
Very
made a few
popular.
exceptions, namely Batman, because I wanted to put all the Batman minifigures with DC, so all of those are together. There's also a couple of other ones that I decided to display with their respective themes. Like, they made a Johnny Thunder minifigure for the Lego movie, so I put him with adventures. They made a Green Ninja Lloyd minifigure, so obviously I put him with Ninjago, but otherwise, this is the complete collection of Lego Movie 1 and 2 minifigs as well.
I remember
as the
McDonald's
Unikitty
had these
collectible
collectible
minifigure series,
cups that
which
they had
technically
come
was
out. They were
based
so
off of
cool.
the Unikitty Cartoon Network show, and
They're all
not
like
based off the Lego
holographics.
movie, but I figured it made perfect sense to include them there anyways. Moving on down here, we have the short-lived theme Lego Video. Hot take, I know Video is considered one of the worst Lego themes of all time, but I will say the minifigures were pretty stellar. In fact, they're some of the best Lego minifigs of all time, if you ask me. I really love this alien in particular with a transparent opalescent speckle green pieces.
Some
from here.
wild colors. I
And
remember
down here
this
we
was a
actually
very
have some
weird
prototypes
series.
of unreleased Lego Video minifigures.
It was like trying to be
They were
like
gonna
hip
be
while
dinosaurs, and then
being
they had a Vikings
very
one, as
unique
well
at the
as a
same
witch.
time, and it
All of
just
these were
did not
unproduced.
catch
Lego
trends. Look
Video
at like
was
the ice cream
canceled very
scoop man
quickly after they
there in the
saw
middle.
sales going very
Very
poorly,
funny looking
but I
character.
managed to grab a couple of those prototypes when they snuck out of the factory. Someone was selling them online on some special places on the internet where you can find stuff like that, so I had to pick them up for my collection. Hopefully, I'll be able to get a few more because I know there are a few other items out there. Down here, we have one of my favorite Lego themes of all time. This is
Exo
Lego
Force.
Exo Force.
Yes.
It was Lego's foray into the world of anime, coming up
The
with
old
their
school
own
mech
custom
suit
sort of
guys.
anime world, where these mecha pilots were battling the Mecha One and his evil army of robots, and you have the full collection of Lego Exo Force minifigures right here.
That's
We've
awesome.
seen a lot of references to Lego Exo Force over the years. Most recently, we actually got an Exo Force mech in a Lego City roller coaster set in 2024, so hopefully we'll keep on seeing more references to this really cool Lego theme.
I hope so. It was a fire little
All the way
theme.
up
I
to
remember
the top
having a
here,
couple of the
We're
mechs.
kind of starting down on this row here. We have some action and adventure based themes. Up at the
Ooh.
top, we have Lego Rock Raiders. Rock Raiders was the very first underground based Lego theme. The rarest minifig there is the Chief, who is super expensive. He only came in a special promotional minifigure package that was kind of released alongside the Lego Rock Raiders game. So that is super cool to have Chief all the way up there.
It
Moving
didn't
on to
mention
the
a
rest of
value,
the
but
figures, we of course
I
have to
assume
go
a
through
couple
the
$100
other
range.
underground-based Lego theme, and that is Power Miners with all the iconic rock monsters. Then we have Aqua Zone, Aqua Raiders, Atlantis, so we go into the underwater themes here. Really love these underwater creature minifigures. And then we have my favorite mini doll-based theme, Elves. Elves ran for 4 years and was one of Lego's best story-based themes with some really vibrant character designs and a really well-animated Netflix special show as well, animated by these same folks who did Legend of Korra, so that's pretty cool. Of course, I had to display the little baby elves dragons alongside the figures as well because those are just so adorable and so cute to
Ooh, he's got some more of those
Moving onwards, before we get
title
into the
plates for, like,
elephant in the room
Ninjago
here, which is
figures
most of this side
already
of the wall,
printed.
Let's take a quick look at some of these other themes. We have these Super Agent
So
Lego
many
themes.
figures to go
we
over.
have Lego Agents right here, so that was in 2008. We have Lego Alpha Team over here, which was the original team of Lego Super
definitely has a
Spies.
lot of stuff,
And then
yeah.
directly above them, we have Ultra
Yeah,
Agents,
this is
so
like
a lot of great
collecting to the
villain minifigures there.
extreme.
And right above
For
that,
sure.
we have Lego Adventures and Pharaoh's Quest with the iconic Johnny Thunder, who you can barely see at the top of the
The
screen.
Pharaoh's Quest
Right
sets are
there,
pretty
we've got
fire.
A lot of iterations
Held
of
in
Johnny
Egypt
Thunder,
with all
and
the
of course, I
skeletons
factored
and
in all
mummies.
the ones we got from the collectible minifigure series and Lego City and all of that as well, because we've gotten a lot of him over the years. Moving on from that, let's take a quick look at the bottom frames here, because again, Ninjago we'll get to in a second.
The poor
Right here we
cameraman
have
just has to
LEGO
keep
Monster
doubling back and
Fighters,
forth,
I kind of have all the
going all over the
spooky
place.
themes here. So we have Monster Fighters, and then Hidden Side starting here, which was based around an app-based play to fight off ghosts. LEGO Hidden Side has lots of really interesting ghost and creature designs. And then finally, I included some of the minifigures from the LEGO Haunted House set, which is technically part of like the Icons Fairground collection, but I figured it was spooky enough to kind of coincide
I wonder
with
what
the
that big
LEGO
tall
Hidden
monster
Side
looking thing
Monster
is.
Fighters area.
With like the big Lego
Down
head.
here, while we're here, let's take a quick look at some of these other original LEGO themes, and these are also some pretty big displays. We have LEGO Legends of Chima right up here, so we have Laval the
Chima.
Lion, all
Chima
the
was a
different
weird one.
lions here. And yes, I did even include the LEGO board game minifigures in this minifig display. I am that much of a completionist. We're including everything here, and we have all the different Chima tribes, and technically you could say these count as Ninjago minifigs because for those out of the loop, the world of Chima has merged with the world of LEGO Ninjago, and they all exist in the same world now. So definitely something really cool they're exploring with the show, and now that actually makes all of these figures exist in the same universe.
That's actually
Another
weird.
completely separate LEGO
Interesting,
theme
but
down here,
weird.
also kind of along the same vein,
Kinda makes
had its
sense.
own
The
TV
figure
show, is
types are
LEGO
pretty well the
Nexo
same.
Knights. I love the villain designs of LEGO Nexo Knights in particular, and the way I have these organized is I have the villains near the bottom and then the heroes on the top.
They got some cool little red goblins in the bottom
figure
there.
Designs in total. And now, let's take a look at some of the biggest LEGO minifigure displays here, which is, of course, Ninjago. Now, Ninjago
This
is
is
one of my
wild.
favorite LEGO themes ever.
Wild.
It's also one of the longest running LEGO themes, and that's why these frames are so big. We have the original Ninja.
They also have a lot of
here, so
duplicates of the
Kai,
same
Jay,
figures.
Zane, Cole and Nia Lloyd down at the bottom, and then we have spaces dedicated to all the side characters like Wu,
So
Gargadon,
Lloyd's the
all
green
elemental
ninja. He's got
masters,
so
some
many
of the
there.
new characters as well, like Aaron and Sora, plus all the civilians down here. I think the most special item here is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive version of Ryu, which is probably the rarest Ninjago minifig yet. And one minifigure I am still missing is the Master Wu from the Magic of Play, which was a LEGO Designer Summit exclusive item. It was Master Wu dressed up as Magisto, the wizard from LEGO Castle. I don't have him yet, but I am in contact with somebody who will be giving me a copy of this set in about
Wow.
8 months from now when
Go
I
figure.
visit Denmark. So I am very excited to add that to my collection. It will be coming, but I figured, you know what? Why
Lysol laundry disinfectant.
Like everything
Eliminates
else, it seems to
germs,
really be able to
detergents leave
acquire a
behind.
lot of rare
Lysol,
pieces.
What it takes to protect.
Power up with Monopoly App Banking. The first Monopoly board you play with an app. Play mini games to get ahead on the board. Even track your score.
And skip.
It's more
There we go.
Why delay the collection tour for one minifig? I'll do a video on it when it comes. Moving on to this side of the wall, we have all of the Ninjago villains. So these are all the different villainous factions, going from the latest, Forbidden 5, down here. At the time of recording this video, the 2 members of the Forbidden 5 are not released yet. Rox and Kerr come in the summer wave, and that is not out yet because I am filming this video again in March, but those are going to be coming soon. But otherwise, here's a look.
It's hard to
at every
believe that
single
like this video
Ninjago
came out
villain
like
minifigure,
not
going
too
all
long
the way
ago,
up
but
to the
I'm sure he's
Gargadon,
already
the
got
movie
hundreds of
villains,
more
the ghosts,
figures
the
and
ninjoids,
sets
all the
added
way
to
up
this
the
now
Skulking,
collection.
the villains that started it all, these skeleton warriors hailing from the underworld. Moving on from that, we have a few more sections up here, and these are actually kind of related to other themes. Up here is a complete
Ooh, he's got
Krana
Fabuland.
collection. These are the brains behind the Borok, so this is every single Krana that you can find in the Borok, and I have printed
That's
tiles
pretty cool.
on the way
More
explaining the
Bionicle
names
pieces.
and powers of all of these, because yes, each of them has a separate unique name and a unique power, so all of these are very, very deep in Ninjago and Bionicle lore. And then all the way up here, we have a space dedicated to LEGO Fabuland, which actually is very important. I put it at the very top because LEGO Fabuland was LEGO's first original story-based theme.
They're
Whereas
really
other
cool.
evergreen themes like
They're
LEGO
so
Space,
unique.
Castle, and Pirates didn't quite have stories to tell of
They
their
never
own,
did
and
anything
mostly
similar
let kids
again.
come up with their own stories.
Except I feel like
LEGO
maybe Animal
Fabuland
Crossing,
was the
but
very first
different
LEGO
molds.
IP to actually have a TV show, Edward and Friends, which was the first LEGO TV show ever. Because of its prominence and how it inspired so many more years of LEGO storytelling, it had to be at the very top of this collection. Before we go all the way down here, let's take a quick look at some of these brick-built dragons above me. I wanted to hang all
Are they
of
all
the,
Ninjago guys, or-
non-Ninjago brick-built
Okay.
dragons up here because they're really cool. Like the ones from
Non-Ninjago?
LEGO Vikings. This one right here, I think we've kind of bashed our heads in with him while walking down and filming this video, but he kind of should be flying towards you, looking at the camera. We might have to change around the way the string works here, because usually he's flying there. There we go. Just looking straight at you, belching fire. We have all the other Lego Vikings dragons.
Looks like he's got a witch with a dragon
flying alongside them. But then here you have some of the other actual brick-built dragons. We've got the Harry Potter dragons, many different versions of the Lego Minecraft Ender Dragon. We have the amazing Lego
the Ender Dragon, fire.
3-in-1 dragon, one of the best dragons they've ever done. The Dungeons and Dragons creature there, and then even some of the creatures from Avatar, which aren't really dragons, but you know what? They're close enough. Moving on to here, though, we have all of these special molded dragons, or at least a lot of them.
We got Smog
You've got
from
some dragons
Hobbit.
here, like the Lego Fantasy Era 2008 Castle Dragons. So you've got, of course, the evil one attacking the good one there. That's why he's kind of swerving over. You've got the Hungarian Horntail, the original version from Harry Potter, and the new version, as well as some of the other Harry Potter creatures. And of course, I had to hang a lot of these classic Lego dragons from string as well, because these molded dragons are so much fun and definitely an icon of Lego. And leading the pack is Smaug, one of my favorite Lego animals ever.
Fire.
Moving on from that, right up above me there, it's really easy to miss, but that is the Lego X-Men Jet, and it's signed by the voice of Wolverine, Cal Dodd, who I met at Comic-Con in 2024.
Crazy.
So he, of course, had to sign the X-Men Jet there, which is from X-Men 97.
Wow.
And speaking of signed items, we have Jedi Bob's Starfighter from Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, signed by the entire cast. Bobby Moynihan, as well as the showrunners and writers. This has been decked out with signatures, and I'm really happy to have added it to my collection. Okay, moving on.
Those are like almost priceless.
Here, so let's move
I don't know
on
how
here.
many people are
This
getting
is a
Lego
quick
sets
look at all the
signed
Lord of the
by
Rings
different
minifigures
creators.
and Hobbit figures, some of the best
Look at
minifigures
that.
they
Where's
put
the
out.
big
So
figs? I love the big
one of my
figs.
favorite IPs as well. I love the Lord of the Rings movies. I have watched the extended editions maybe like 6 or 7 times now.
Oh, they're on the bottom there.
Love these movies, love the world, and here's all the minifigs. And then I think it's time to talk about Lego Star Wars, and we have a lot here.
There is a lot of
Obviously,
Lego Star Wars,
there
that's
are,
for sure.
I believe the most minifigures in Lego Star Wars compared to any other theme. Town might have it beat, but Star Wars is a lot. I think they're kind of neck and neck. And because of that, this required a lot of different frames and a lot of trying to figure out, how do I organize these figures?
Look at the Darth Maul is up top there.
Right here,
All the different
we have a
variations.
column of Jedi, and I've kind of gone in timeline order. So we have like the Old Republic Jedi, we have the High
Crazy.
Republic Jedi, and
What are
then
we
we have
sitting at?
Yoda,
48
who's kind
minutes,
of been
wow.
around for a lot of it. All the different Yoda figures. Yes, that is an official New York I Love Yoda, one of the rarest figs in my collection. Then we get to the prequels. So we've got Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, lots of Obi-Wan actually. Obi-Wan ends here, which is crazy how many there's
Oh, wow,
been.
there is a lot.
Then Anakin, so we go to Anakin. I actually put,
Yeah.
so the interesting thing
You
here
got
is I
Ahsoka
kind
too?
of split off Anakin versus Vader, so we have him right up to his transformation, and then Vader goes with the Sith, but of course, Jedi Vader from Rebuild the Galaxy has to go on the Jedi section right here. So that's kind of why the logic made sense to me, and it also absolutely was because I was very carefully counting all the minifigures I could put here, and I was going to run out of space. So that's why all the other Vaders are
I'm
over
honestly
there.
surprised
We're
he
gonna have to
hasn't run out of
reconfigure it the
space.
next
I mean, this
time,
is
like
quite
single
a
Jedi figure
usefulness
comes
for
out. So
just a staircase. Like, this is just a staircase to go down to a bedroom, and he's literally taking advantage of every square inch.
Can go up to 775
He has no
kilometers
wasted
without
space
stopping
at all,
gas.
I don't
Welcome
think.
to the future of fuel efficiency in the new
His
Kia
older
Sportage
videos, he had
Kia
more space in the
with
walls,
limited
but like
inspires.
now it's just completely packed.
Prevent tough
Completely filled out.
residents with the power of Finnish jet drive.
We're gonna watch another probably like 15 more minutes or so
maybe I should
of
have
this
had a few,
video, and
like,
then
better forward
we'll
plan
call it
here,
quits
but
for
you
the
know
night.
what? As of right now, March 2025, it's complete. Then we have Ahsoka, we have Mace Windu, all of these other Jedi here. Of course, we have the treacherous Pong Krell. I mean, does he even really belong with the Jedi, or should he be moved to the villain section? I really don't know. But of course, we have some other figures. We have a signed Jedi Bob, also signed by Bobby Moynihan, who voiced him in the special. We've
Another
got the
signature.
black hair version of Kanan Jarrus, which is one of the rarest ones here. And then we go all the way down to Cal Kestis.
Luke.
I'm Cal Kestis. We've got Luke Skywalker. All of these are Luke, many, many rows of Luke. And then finally,
There
at
is
the
a lot,
bottom,
actually.
we have the different iterations of Rey
Oh,
down here.
not many of her.
Okay. Moving on from those figures, also for Lego Star Wars, right up at the very top, we have all of the villains. So you'll notice that at the top here, we have basically all of the Sith. So you can see some of the
Ooh,
old
the
Republic
cool
Sith,
guys.
the classics back
Not the
there,
good guys,
and then
but
we
the
have
cool
all the different
guys.
iterations of Palpatine. I know we're getting the Rise of Skywalker version in a book, so I've left a spot open for that one. We've got Darth Maul, Count Dooku, who of course is voiced by Christopher Lee. Twice the pride, double the fall. And then we have Asajj Ventress, Grievous, and then we kind of get to the Confederacy of Independent Systems here. So we have all of the different battle droids. I'm missing a few specialized variants, so they're going to be added to the collection as soon as I get them. We have the super battle droids, all the different droids here, and then we have some of the Geonosians, and finally
Some of
we
the
get
Imperial
into the
people.
Empire sector. So we have Darth Vader. Chrome Vader is one of my favorites right here. Super cool to get that in chrome. And I actually realized this was very silly of me, but I realized that I was like, oh, I have so many identical Darth Vader minifigures. Why don't I just sell them all and only keep the unique ones? And then I realized that, oh, actually, they all had different heads. So I did own all of the Darth Vaders that are missing at some point. I got rid of them because, like, from the outside, they all look the same. And now I have to go through the task of buying them again because they all have different heads. So I'm going to figure that out. They're all on my wish list. So I'm going to be filling a lot of the spots here pretty soon.
Ooh, I like the bounty hunter
Then we
section.
get
He hasn't
to the
talked about it yet, but it's pretty
Inquisitors
cool.
over there. Some of the other villains from the Disney Plus TV shows and kind of the Mandalorian era
Ah,
of
the
shows.
Mandalorian,
And
the
then we
Boba
get to the
Fett
First
book.
Order. So Snoke, Kylo Ren, the Knights of Ren over here. Lego still hasn't made a Ren minifigure, despite him appearing in the Halloween special for Lego Star Wars. But, you know, maybe we'll get him one day. I guess he's more of an obscure comics-only character. And then we have some of the First Order officers over here. Onto this frame here is our wall of scum and villainy. That's right, these are the denizens of Tatooine.
These are probably
the
the
bounty
coolest
hunters.
people.
They're kind of the guys you don't want to
These are
cross
the ones
with.
that hang
Of
out
course,
at the
you've got
bars and
Rancor here,
stuff.
One of my favorite Lego Big Figs of all time.
They're always
Many
mouthing off,
iterations
getting
of
themselves
Jabba the
killed.
Hutt. And then you have some of the other iconic bounty hunters as we move along this section here. And Skeleton Crew, I couldn't really think of a place where it made sense to put them, so I kind of just included them here. I would never call Neil scum, though. Neil is good. Okay, moving on to the rest of the figures here. We
clones.
have the Mandalorians. So this is the Mandalorian section. We've got all of the different Mandalorians up over here, including Cloud City Boba
expensive
Fett, one
Boba
of the
Fett.
rarest Lego Star Wars minifigures ever.
Yeah.
Moving alongside,
What is
we've
it, like
got
a
different
$500
iterations of
figure,
Boba Fett,
$600,
all the
something like
other
that?
Mandalorians, and of course, this then opens up to a much bigger display of all of the clone troopers and stormtroopers Lego has ever made. Of course, we've got the Captain Rexes, we've got the Bad Batch over here, and one special thing I did is I wanted to display the Bad Batch with helmets on and helmets off because some of them do have special hair pieces. So yes, I bought 2 copies of every Bad Batch figure.
That's
just to be
crazy.
able to display them with
Dedication right
helmets on
there.
and off. I really did like the show,
One
so
of
I really
each.
wanted to give them something a little bit more special. And you'll notice me doing that for some figures in the collection. I've made exceptions to the rule of just 1 per figure because I really like the way something looks. Moving on down here, we've got all the different pilots. So we get into the different
Oh,
pilots.
Meta
over here,
Hydra
and then
said
we get
it's
to the First Order
$2,000 for
figures.
the
Captain
Boba Fett
Phasma
figure
and
one, the
First
rare one.
Order
That's crazy.
Stormtroopers.
I know the
All
prices
the
have
First
changed. I
Order,
just
then
didn't
we
realize they
have the
changed that
Order
much.
Guards here.
I must be
The
thinking about
different
like years
iterations
ago
going
when
up
it
to
was
the
worth
Praetorian
500.
Guards over here, and then we have some of these special officers. So these are some of the special figures here, like Tarkin. Of course, we have Yularen, Thrawn. We've got Krennic, and all of these other iconic Lego Imperial officers. And then
Very
we move
nice.
into some of the less iconic officers. I would never call Veers less iconic, though. He's truly one of the most iconic characters ever. But I'm talking about these guys. You know, we've got the pilots, we've got the captains, the commandants, all the different characters here and there. And then finally, we just have some other kind of random
Ewoks.
denizens, like civilian characters like the Jawas,
got the Gungans.
Ewoks as well, different aliens, like there's one of the Kaminoans, Lama Su over there. So, you know, this is kind of a place just to put some random figures. And then we have
I always
some
love like the
allies
different like
and good
species
guys.
and
So we start
animals
with the
in
prequels with
Star
Padme
Wars.
over here. We have Pizza Jar Jar Binks.
The aliens.
And then we have all sorts of other characters as we move on, especially Han Solo. And yes, we do have quite a lot of Han Solos. Okay, moving all the way down, one minifig I want to call out is the original Cloud City Lando. This is one of my favorite minifigures with such a beautiful cape design, and they actually made a modern version of him, or a modern remake, for the 20th anniversary, so it's really cool to see that.
It's cool he's showing that one
Finally,
off.
as we go into the rest of the figures here, this is just a lot of Rebels. So we have the cast of course, Rebels, the TV show, but then we have a lot of other standard Rebels going along here, the Rogue One figures, and then as we move on the way down, we have the Resistance figures down here. So all these minifigures.
Ooh, we're
for
getting
the
to the end of all the
Resistance,
Star Wars
going
guys.
all the way down to some spillover droids right there. And you know what section I did not talk about
I was
yet?
gonna say the
That's right, the
R2-D2s.
droids. So
Yeah.
here we have a look at all of the different
BB-8 and all them.
Star Wars droids. So I think the
C-3POs.
rarest one here has got to be the gold C-3PO. This is not solid gold, it's just actually plastic gold, but this was a special giveaway item that you could only find in certain anniversary sets all the way back in 2009. So that's super cool to see here. We've got one of my favorites, TC-14. I love it when LEGO does chrome figures, and I'm very sad they don't do those anymore because the chrome tends to scratch off, and LEGO felt like it didn't really fit their quality control standards, so they don't really do chrome stuff anymore outside of keychains and the Lord
It's
of the
kind of a
Rings
shame.
Ring,
I like
but
chrome.
It was cool to get it while it lasted.
Bling bling.
We've got every astromech here. Apparently I'm missing like one, which is crazy. I don't even know which one that is, but it's on my wanted list. Everything that's not on here is on my wish list, so we'll get to that at some point. And then we have all the little droids down here. Dio, of course, from Fallen Order, and of course all the different Gonk droids, which I had to include in this collection. I chose not to display stuff like the Droidicas or the Buzz droids or some of the other stranger brick-built droids because I felt like it didn't really make sense to count them as minifigures. That being said, I might change my mind, and part of that was also because I literally ran out of space on the droid section and said, you know what, we're just calling it here. Gonks are making it in, but anything else...
Even if it's like
strange
a
and
brick
brick-built,
build, as long
not
as it's like
happening.
for a minifigure design, I don't see why you can't just hide it and add it to the collection. Especially if it
Low
kind of like
energy.
completes a list of characters for a specific theme. Why not?
Cliff it up.
Of course, moving over here, we have our next collection, which is Marvel.
Ooh,
I'm a big LEGO
okay,
Star
so
Wars
we're all
fan,
done
but
with
I'm
the Star
also a
Wars
big
now.
Marvel fan in general. I read the comics, I watch every single piece of superhero content out
See
there.
what time we at
yes,
here.
even the bad ones.
56
and I will
minutes.
consume
Okay.
basically any piece of
We'll let 'em go
superhero
through the
media I
Marvel
can get my
figs.
hands on. So of course, I had to have
See
a
what they
full
got.
section dedicated to LEGO Marvel, and then DC's right around the corner. So the way I've done Marvel is actually quite interesting. I've actually organized the figures based on comics or animated shows first, and then the MCU
Interesting.
movies. And it makes
Ooh,
sense
look at all
to
the
me
Hulk
because
big
I kind of
figs.
like, I'm thinking that obviously comics came before the movies, so it makes sense chronologically that you have the comic stuff before the movies, and I don't have these arranged by release order, but I have them arranged in timeline order. So for instance, if you have a Captain America that came out for Captain America the First Avenger, then I have that here even though it came out this year in 2025.
And they all got their little,
And
like,
then we
titles
get
and
to
everything,
the
too.
First iteration of
That's
his
crazy.
Avenger suit that we had in 2012. We have the next iteration of the Avenger
There's
suit.
actually a
and
lot
so
of
on and
different
so
Captain
forth.
Americas.
It made the most sense to me to organize them that way, and that way we actually have
And then you
some
got the
minifigures
Falcon
that have
figures
similar
into
outfits, but you
Captain
can see the
America.
difference in styles over the years. Like, one of the cool ways of seeing this is just how the Iron Man suits have evolved, where, as you can see,
Yeah, they got
you have
tons
the
of
same
different Iron Man
suit
suits.
being depicted in
So many
different
sets got
styles
multiple
over the
Iron
years,
Mans.
from 2012 all the way over to 2025. So I really wanted to emphasize that. One other thing that we have here is every single Comic-Con or Toy Fair minifigures. So there are some really rare minifigures on this wall. They are all called out on the plaque as to how you could get them. So, for instance, let's take a look up here. I mean, maybe it's kind of covered so it's hard to see the plaque. I think you can see it
Christmas,
on the video.
Tony Stark?
This is the Toy Fair exclusive Iron Man from 2012, and it specifically says it is from the 2012 New York Toy Fair, which I really wanted to call out. Another way I've organized these is that we have the civilian alter ego of the characters first and foremost before we get into any fully suited up versions. So we have all the Tony Starks, and then we get to Iron Man, and then the same goes for here. Like, we got a Steve Rogers for What If.
Is there any
the Hydra
Bruce
Stopper,
Banners,
so we have Steve first,
before they
and
go
then rest of
into the
characters,
Hulk?
And that just made sense to me. in
Or
the
is
way
it
to
just
set
the
it up.
Hulk?
So calling out just some of my favorite minifigs here, this is going to be a classic. We've got the Giant Man Scott Lang over here from Captain America Civil
Ant-Man?
War. And you might notice that I've not actually chosen to display the other large-scale brick-built figures alongside this character because I feel like those don't count as minifigs, whereas this is clearly an upscaled LEGO minifig, so he totally belongs on the wall, and I hope LEGO does
Yeah, he
more
definitely
stuff
belongs.
like this. Of course, we have them all organized in a order that made sense to me when I was
Look at all
putting them out.
Spider-Mans. Woo,
I
there's
might
quite a
shuffle
few.
things around. We'll see. I always am changing the way this works.
Got
but I
some
kinda
Doctor
have, like, the main
Stranges.
characters
I like
and
the
then
zombie
supporting
ones there.
cast of the movies with them. So we've got all the different Thors, and then we have the different characters from the Thor movies. So we have Valkyrie, we've got Korg, we've got Meek up next. So it just
Korg's
makes
pretty
sense
cool.
to me to include like their supporting cast alongside them. And then the same
Meek's a
goes
funny
for some
one,
of these
too.
other characters here, like Scarlet Witch has all of her iterations.
There's actually a lot of
but the next
characters I
one
didn't realize they
is
actually had in
Agatha
Lego that he
Harkness,
has,
because
which
she
is kind of
came
cool.
from WandaVision, of course.
I thought there was certain
Now,
characters they
moving
just
on,
never got to,
all the way
but
down
they actually
here,
did.
we start to go into
I don't
the
know if they're just
cosmic side of the
exclusives or
MCU.
limited
So we've
releases,
got
but
the Guardians of the Galaxy right here,
different
which is
breeds.
very nice to have them all displayed. And then finally we have these Spider-Man minifigures. And there's a lot of them.
There's a ton.
Yes, we do have the Andrew
Miles
Garfield
Morales and
Spider-Man
stuff.
minifigure, one of the rarest Lego minifigs ever, at over $10,000 US to buy this single minifigure, who I have displayed next to the modern
That's
version.
wild.
And I would absolutely say, just buy the modern version. Why would you spend the money for this if you're not me? Don't
Buy
do that.
the
Don't
modern
be crazy
version.
like Duck Bricks. Of course,
Yeah.
we do have all the other
I mean, at that
Comic-Con
price, that's
exclusives
just
as well,
that's
like the
crazy.
black symbiote suit here. This was also a
That's like 2
special
or 3
exclusive
mortgage
figure.
payments.
And even Spider-Woman, who was a very nice exclusive. And I have allotted spaces for the rumored Spider-Verse CMF series, which is allegedly coming out this year. I'm very, very excited for that because I love the Spider-Verse movies. I feel like they're really genre-defining for animation as a medium. And I was kind of shocked that Lego never made any Spider-Verse products until this year in 2025. We've got a lot of
Yeah,
rumored
and those
Spider-Man
figures have now
characters
come
coming,
out, so more than
those are
likely he
all
already
going to
has
be
them all,
added to
all
my
12 of them.
collection here, and that's why there's a big gap. Moving on, we have the rest of the Spider-Man supporting cast. So we have like the Mary Janes, we've got
Gwen,
Aunt May,
Stacy.
all of the different police captains. Then of course I kind of had a row just for like the generic policeman. And I find it funny how like this is just a classic town policeman that appeared in Lego City sets, but because he came in a Spider-Man 1 set in 2002 for Lego Studios, he now counts for this banner. And same goes for like this Lego City police officer here.
Hey,
Came
they
in a
got
Lego
Pork
Junior set
Grind,
in
the
2015.
Spider-Man
Yes, with yellow skin, really strange.
Tooniverse?
Yellow
Is
skin.
that what that says?
One of the
Villain?
most
That's
modern
cool.
examples of a yellow skin minifigure appearing in a licensed set. And then we have all the other civilians here, as well as getting to some of the other characters from
And
the
Marvel?
MCU. So
Or, I mean, sorry,
Moon Knight,
X-Men?
Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, all of the other characters as we move on. And then we have the X-Men. So Lego has not made a ton of X-Men characters, but they started
No.
doing more and more frequently as the X-Men 97 show came out. So we have them here, including that Comic-Con exclusive. And the final minifig for Marvel had to be Kevin Feige. I'm still shocked we got him as a minifigure, but given that he's basically in
And
charge
Steven
of the
Spielberg
MCU,
director
it made sense that he
minifig.
kind of bookends everything. Moving on from that board, you may notice that most of those were heroes, and that's because the MCU villains and the Marvel villains
Oh,
take
we
up
put 'em all
this
together.
entire area.
Nice. All the big figs and
villains
aliens.
their first appearance, then kind of going on to villains who we haven't seen in the movies, and that just made sense to me because this just is villains in timeline order, similar to how we started with Iron Man for the minifigs up top. We've got Obadiah Stane right here, the Ironmonger, and then we have Whiplash. Finally, we have all the different iterations of Loki. And I really should kind
Lokis.
of bring those forwards. I
Nice.
think I don't really have them. I've got them all bent over, so I'll be updating this display as I get more plates to bring them out. And I am realizing that we're getting an Iron Man 2 set later this year. So I think I'm going to have to shuffle everything over very soon.
That's got to be a
which is
nightmare
very
just to have to
unfortunate.
add one
I should've
figure.
remembered that.
He's got to move
All right,
everything.
Well, anyways, yeah,
Crazy.
that answers one question.
That's
that
the
I'm sure
problems
lot
of a
people
giant
are
collection
asking.
owner.
What happens when new minifigures come out? And the answer is basically what you would imagine. I basically shuffle everything over by one. I remove each tile. I put it on. It takes hours.
Oh, yeah, that's
But
tedious.
is it worth it? You tell me. You're watching this video.
I
not me,
mean,
so you can
for the
let me know.
completionists and
But
to
it's
know
worth
that
it to
all the
me, so
pieces
I
are in
guess
the
that's
right
what
areas, the
matters.
right
Of
places,
course,
yeah,
we have
it is
all the
worth
different
it. But
video,
it's just,
villains down here.
it's a lot
We
of
start
work.
to get into the
I'm
Spider-Man
sure he's gotten
villains.
pretty
So
good at
we've
the
got
process
Norman
of
Osborn,
getting
the
it together.
Green Goblin. And then, of course, we have Doc Ock, the power of the sun in the palm of my hands. I think that's the second time I've said that in this video. And, of course, we have Venom, Eddie.
Ooh, he's got a rhino suit. That's pretty cool for the villains.
Real quick, how would you find the answer in all this data?
I've always loved the villains for the Marvel Universe.
Oh,
Arguably cooler than any of the
The
heroes that they
quickest way
have.
from a
But
billion points of
that's just my
data to a
thoughts.
point of view. Sasvaya.
Ooh, flavor. All right, let's see the rest of these Marvel
Turned
minifigures.
into a minifigure.
all the different Venoms right here. We've got Carnage, and then down here we have some of the other villains that haven't appeared yet in the MCU, although that's about to change. We've got
Dr.
Doom here,
Doom.
Magneto, and then all of the other villainous
Nice.
characters like the AIM agents, the Sentinels. I guess Justin Hammer we have seen, but this is in his Detroit Steel form, which we haven't seen in the MCU, and I don't know if we ever will, so we've got him right there. Okay. Moving on, while we're kind of lower down here, I want to highlight this section.
Is that all the
here. This is
minifigures
a
for
complete
Marvel?
collection of
It
Lego
is. Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to pause it there. I'm going to end up actually continuing this watch through another day because of it being 3 hours long, going over the deep dive of his collection. This guy's name is Duck Bricks. What a collector. Absolutely insane.